So talking about gaming and like all the things that have gone wrong in that industry over the past not even a decade. Like I feel like it kind of really fell apart real fast. And so there's a lot of things that you could, talk about, and I have talked about or probably will talk about. But one thing that I think doesn't get covered enough, because it's easy to point a finger at, well, I guess it is still the companies, and I keep saying corporate greed, sounding like an asshole. But that is what it is. It's, corporations want all the money. But I think one of the tools that they've used to kind of dismantle the gaming industry and turn it into what it is today is kind of it's the kind of that mob mentality, that kind of team mentality that sports has over a lot of people. And they've done this by turning gaming into a sport, esports. And esports used to be like some dumb shit that people would make fun of League of Legends players for watching, right? Like it used to be MOBAs because for whatever reason MOBAs kind of like took off. I guess because it's a team game and they're long. Like I think it's because the matches are long enough. That's kind of what really got MOBAs started, because they were like, it's like you're talking like 30 minutes to get through a MOBA match, right? So there's some substance there. So that's why it started with MOBAs, and it kind of stayed there, and it was fine because MOBAs were what they were, and there wasn't like a huge effect on the kind of general gaming population as a whole. But then it kind of got worse. And I really kind of blame Blizzard for a lot of this, because they took Overwatch, which was, Disney Pixar shoot 'em up, and, really well produced, lots of voice acting, and they kind of like, they looked at TF2 and said, we want to do that but better. And they did that but worse. And I think one of the things that always made TF2 so good is that TF2 never took itself seriously. TF2 had the production value, and it really didn't. I mean, you look at it had wonderful voice actors and wonderful characters in all of the different mercenaries. But, the graphics were never, like, all that great. Not that Overwatch's graphics are great either. It's that same kind of cartoony style that Blizzard does really well. But TF2 never took itself seriously outside of the game. TF2, it wasn't CSGO. It wasn't, I can't think of any good examples. I mean, even the Battlefield games and the Call of Duty games took themselves pretty seriously. Like this serious shooter game. It's like TF2 it was a little silly. I mean, you got the people that played Highlander, but that was it. The majority of TF2 was just goofing around, and that's what made it great. You'd play, playing Dust Bowl for the umpteenth time, and even if it was like a serious match and just any random Valve server, it was still, it wasn't serious. There wasn't a lot of, and people throw around the word toxicity, which is a stupid word. It's a System of a Down song, not an insult. But you didn't see a lot of that, just, I guess, overtly over-the-top shitty behavior that you see in a lot of modern games. And I think part of that is because TF2 didn't take itself seriously. If you got trounced and steamrolled by the enemy team, it didn't matter because you weren't taking it seriously. It was just whatever. Let's get the next match started, Dust Bowl again. And I'm going to go spy this time and just fuck off, right? Like, it didn't matter. But then you get into... and so then you look at games that did have that kind of, shitty behavior kind of ingrained in them. But they took themselves seriously enough to warrant it, but not seriously enough to care. And that was CSGO, where the angry Russian meme of just a blah, 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 because your team is losing. And I think CSGO got it a little bit because just the nature of the game was a little bit more serious, because it was a little faster paced, and a little more finite. Like, it wasn't like there was a clear cutoff point. It wasn't like TF2 where there's objectives and it's kind of a little more drawn out and you can kind of turtle the game a little bit. Like it was it's real snappy and fast, right? And so it's just inherently a little more serious because of that fact. And serious enough to get people pissed off about it, but not enough that anybody really cared. Like, you never hear about the toxicity of the modern CSGO world, though you probably do now if you look through fucking Kotaku and all those stupid game journalism websites. But so then you get Overwatch, which on its head wasn't serious. It was like, because Valve fucked up TF2, and it's damn them to hell for doing that, because it was, the perfect game. I think at its height, TF2 was the perfect shooter. It drove me fucking nuts, and I loved it. And it was a good, well-designed game. And then they just kind of like, Valve's a whole other topic, and I don't have enough insight to, do nothing besides just kind of spew bullshit about it, which I guess that's what I do for the rest of all this stuff. But anyway, so after TF2 kind of faded into obscurity, Overwatch came and filled that spot. And it was Disney Pixar's shoot 'em up. These cute, whimsical characters that with nice animated shorts and lots of personality and character and all this, and it's like, and you got these, everybody, there's so many different heroes, they all play differently, and like alts were kind of like, alts kind of like made the game not serious at first, because it's like, it's your team's losing, press Q and win, right? That's always been the joke. But what's happened is now they've let me not get ahead of myself. What's happened is that the game design has changed. It's no longer Disney Pixar shoot 'em up where you press Q to win, and it's just kind of wacky back and forth where I just killed all the people with my Q attack. I just killed all your people with my Q attack. And like, it was just kind of back and forth, and everybody hates Bastion, right? That was the game in its kind of inception, and it was fun that way. And so what happened afterwards? Overwatch started taking itself way too seriously because Blizzard realized that esports is free money. These esports championships and shit are free marketing. Esports streamers are, basically the best marketing you can get, because it shoots not only directly to the, group of people you're after, gamers, it's also getting big enough, and because these guys are entertaining through their personalities, that you're getting non-gamers will watch them, even though they don't really understand what's going on the screen. They can enjoy the commentary and just the personality of the person, and then get exposure to their product, and then go, hey, I might try this out. I can only imagine I don't know why the NFL doesn't fucking do it, because if, you took a boring ass football game and had somebody, making funny commentary over the top of it, I'd watch that. If they were entertaining enough. So what happened was, so I guess it starts with streamers, which, that is what it is. It's that was always kind of on its way, right? Because people who aren't necessarily playing with somebody else, you want to feel connected to somebody. It's, human need, right? I need to have somebody with me. So you have, kind of the anonymous internet is your friend now because you're a streamer. And people were taking off. PewDiePie became the, number one YouTube channel of all time, just being a crazy dickhead Swedish guy yelling at the screen, and it was, it's funny enough. He was entertaining enough, and people give him shit. But I've always liked PewDiePie. He's never been trying to be something he's not. He's very self-aware and kind of unserious. He just kind of like, whatever. He seems like he's living the life, and he knows it, and he's not as jaded as I think a lot of other streamers have become. And this isn't about him. That's just kind of an aside. So it started with streamers, but streamers weren't really the problem. That was just kind of, because a lot of them were funny. You watch them because of the commentary, and so the game was kind of secondary. It's a vehicle for the commentary. But what happened was, as streamers became, more and more people tried to get famous being streamers. Most people aren't funny. Most people aren't entertaining. But what most people can be is good at the game. And so now, streaming goes from this funny, wacky Swedish guy to watch me, I am so good. And what happens there is, watch me, I am so good, is that the game has to keep up with these people, because it is like watching sports, because esports it's a fitting moniker, because you want to watch somebody play the game. If you're not watching them because they're funny and their personality, you're watching them because you want to see them do something in the game that you're not good enough to do yourself. Just like watching a professional sport, like watching football. You want to watch it because that guy can throw that football farther and more accurate than you could ever do. And so you could appreciate kind of the level of skill. But so the game has to require that skill in order for it to be watchable. And now a lot of this comes because if you look at Overwatch and you go to like the forums and like debates about class balancing and like how the game should be changed, they talk about it and like, well, Grandmasters don't do this. Diamond and Up doesn't do this. That's like 5% of the total player population of Overwatch. why are they the dictating force behind how the game gets changed? Shouldn't it be like I would think it would be average out, silver and gold ranks, because those are probably where the majority of players lie, and then, use that as data to decide how the game is going to be changed, because that's the majority of people playing it. But the majority of people playing it have already bought the game, and that's a very, very important fact, is that these majority of people playing in bronze, silver, and gold, they've already bought the game. Blizzard is not getting any more money off of them, especially after the whole loot box fiasco, where loot boxes are now, you can't sell them anymore because it's gambling. And so I don't even think Blizzard does sell them anymore, as far as I know. I think it's been a while since I logged into Overwatch. Not a while, a month or so, not even a couple weeks. I don't think you can buy them anymore. I don't remember. I think it's just earned in-game via the achievements in-game, levels up and whatnot. So there's no more money to be had off the people who have already bought the game. They're dead weight at this point. What they do want, though, is they want new people to buy the game. And again, I talked about this when I was talking about WoW and what kind of happened there, that fall from grace. It's about moving units. Nothing else matters, because the people who have already bought the game, they're done. You've gotten all the money out of them you're going to get. They're most likely not going to spend any more money on that product specifically. So you want to move units. And so Overwatch, they move units by getting non-gamers involved. And they do that via esports and streamers. So now what happens to the game? Overwatch went from, the new, Millennials TF2, Disney Pixar shoot 'em up, kind of fun, wacky, silly game, which was made it really appealing to a lot of people, to hardcore serious gaming. Like, this is the big fucking deal. These matches matter. My rank matters. And what that's done is bred this quote-unquote toxicity, this shitty behavior, because now because the game takes itself too seriously now. The game isn't fun anymore. It's almost a job. Because losing a match means losing something important, because this is an important game. Because esports, because internet fame, because, ranks, because competitive, because I am competitive. And I think the problem is that the majority of people don't play the game like that. And what's happening is, and especially like in quick play, like I don't play competitive. I'm not that good at Overwatch, and Blizzard's matchmaking system sucks. So I end up getting stuck with people that are either, way worse than I am, and I am good, or I get stuck usually with people that are better than I am by enough of a degree. Well, and this is also, it's important. I think part of the problem also lies in Overwatch's general design. The 6-person teams was a mistake. I think but again, it's because serious gaming. This was a, decided fact. Like, they did this on purpose because the game was supposed to be about, they were appealing to the esports thing, which I think was always intended. Like I say, streamers brought it on, but Blizzard definitely created Overwatch with the intention of it to be an esport. Like, you can tell. They didn't dump that much money and character into it just because they cared. It was absolutely a design choice that this was going to be the esports of the future, and that was what they were gunning for, and that's what they got. But so the 6-person teams, it's a very important choice, because what it does is 6-person it's almost exactly the right number, because 7 would be too many to do what it does, 5 would be too few. Because what 6-person does is that losing one member of your team severely handicaps your team without ruining it. So if you're in a team fight 6-on-6 and one person gets a head clicked by the Widowmaker, it's now 5-on-6. You've lost I don't know what the math is to talk about. It's like 13% of your team. Maybe 16% of your team is actually what it is. Like, you've lost 16% of your team. Now, God forbid you lose 2. You lose 2 to a Hanzo ult, right? You've now lost 30% of your team. You have lost 30. I'm sorry, you've lost 33% of your team. Your team's down by 1/3. It's ostensibly a one-sided fight now. You're not coming back from that. So what it does is it puts a lot of importance on the individual. Where in a game like TF2, where it's TF2 was not restricted to, at least custom servers and all that wasn't really restricted to, you could have, 3-on-3, you could have 20-on-20. I want to say, I remember the average TF2 servers were like 12 on 12. They were 25-man servers. And again, there, if, the spy backstabs the heavy, you've got another heavy. You've got a bunch of other people. That one loss isn't impactful. What impacted the game was big losses. It was the crits ubered heavy just mowing down half the team. It was the soldier who went fucking ape shit and got, the soldier with the one crit rock in a group of people that were too close that wiped out 3 or 4 people. It was the push against the NG nest that wiped out 3 or 4 people because they didn't realize the sentry was there. That's what did it. But that also means that, individual skill took a back seat because that one guy who was really, really good, he could kill maybe 2 or 3 people in real fast succession, right? That only began to really tip the balance of the teams. Where in Overwatch, that guy who can clip one guy instantly, the Widowmaker, that could just bam, headshot down, bam, headshot down. That is much more impactful. And again, it rewards skill. And is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Is it a bad thing in a hobby? Yeah, a little bit. Because I don't play Overwatch professionally. I don't play Overwatch to be the best. I would play a game like Overwatch because it's fun. Because it's a game. And it's ironic because this is coming from the company that also turned World of Warcraft into basically a slightly more complicated clicker idle RPG that's just an activity, not a game anymore. Overwatch, they've done the opposite. They've taken it too far beyond the game to where it's almost a profession. It's not a pastime anymore. It's not a hobby anymore. It's whatever the next step would be. It's a, I don't know. It's a trade skill, I guess. And so that's what Overwatch has become. And again, if the teams were 5 on 5, it would be too impactful. One death is a 20% loss of the team, and so as soon as you lose one person, you lost a team fight, right? And if it was 7 people, that one loss wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be felt. You could still 6 on 7 is still pretty good. Like the odds are still, they're not. It's not that much change. So it had to be 6. And so, but what's happened is because of this design choice of the game and because of the atmosphere of the game and it taking itself seriously because of this esports rhetoric, what's happening in Overwatch is the game's not fun anymore. And that's, a lot of people, and what I don't understand is why they don't just separate it. I guess because people would always, you'd still get trolls that would, that would still, punch way down and just go into lower ranking games. Because my idea was always, give us 2 entirely separate launchers. Give me just the base. Fuck it, no skins, no nothing. It's just base Overwatch. It's designed to be. It's a little, balance the game a little differently, so that it's a little more casual friendly. But there's no XP, there's no ranks. Fuck it, there's no loot boxes, there's no skins, there's nothing. It's just Overwatch for Overwatch's sake. It's Overwatch just because fuck it, let's have fun. And then on the other side, have the competitive play, have the loot boxes, have the ranks, have the levels. That way, those people can enjoy that kind of, feedback loop of doing good, getting stuff, getting better, doing gooder, getting stuffer, getting better. They can have that. And then those of us who just want to go Disney Pixar shoot 'em up after work can do that. But I think the problem is that doesn't really work because you'll still get people that'll purposely go, to the, go to the kiddie pool ostensibly and just fuck around and make shit bad. But I also think I think the other reason they won't do it is because I think it would also really shine a light on this. And I fucking hate it every time I say it with seriousness, is the toxic behavior of gamers. Because it's not toxic, this shit's been there forever. It's just the people that are getting called, bitch, faggot, cunt, ass motherfuckers, they're not the same people anymore. Because somebody said that to me when I was, a gamer, or I am still a gamer, but back when I was younger, I'd have been like, fuck you too. Like, I don't give a shit, suck my dick. But now it's people like, I can't believe they could say that on the internet. It's these soft-ass non-gamers who, again, they're the ones getting yelled at because they're bad. Right? It's the non-gamer who's like, Mercy seems nice, but then doesn't keep up with the spaz-ass fucking Genji who's, killing the shit out of everybody, but also really fucking fragile, and then he dies and he starts yelling at Mercy for being bad and being shitty and the dumb cunt-ass Mercy. And then they get real offended because they're not like, oh, fuck you, you overextended, dipshit. Like, there's no retort. It's just, oh my god. And because they're not used to it. Because gamers they were a crass bunch. Always was, Gamers talked about, oh, we're going to rape the fuck out of this team. And again, you can't say that. Fuck you. Yes, I can. It's gaming. We don't actually mean it. I don't mean that. I just, you call each other faggots and this and that. That was just part of the culture. It was, it's kind of that, it's, and I didn't intend to do this, but it is. You invited the women to the party, and all of a sudden they got all their feelings hurt. And that's basically what happened, because there were gamer girls back in the day before, before toxic, behavior was a buzzword. But they just threw it right back. And a lot of it was also because you didn't know they were girls, because they weren't gamer girls. They were just gamers who were girls. And that's, that's again another thing, whereas you talk about gamer girls and like that whole thing, and like oh, there's, they get hated on just for being gamer girls. Yes, they fucking do, because no one gives a fuck that you're a gamer girl. You should just be a gamer that is a girl. And, the fact that you want to be treated special because you're a gamer girl is why we don't like you. And I'm going off on a tear here that's for something else. So what happens is you're getting these serious gamer people, these serious gamers, who take Overwatch as serious as it takes itself, as an esport, as a competitive sport, as a competitive activity, intermingled with these people who are just there, who either A, aren't gamers at all, so they don't even have anywhere near the mindset, or they're very casual gamers. And so in both of those groups of people don't mix with the competitive player, because the competitive player is, this shit is serious. This shit, we gotta win. We have to win. You don't get to fuck up. How dare you miss? And that's where you start to see this shitty behavior, because you're crossing the streams. You're combining two different groups of people that don't belong together. And because Blizzard has done nothing to prevent this combination of people. And that's, I think, inherently the problem, is that if the game's going to be a serious esports game, and I guess maybe that's it. It should have been pitched that way from the beginning. I think that's part of the problem.